if she was being more specific.
Okay, so that is Daniel's comment. How about the others? Yes, Denisa?
The second problem is Stella didn't ask anything either to make the appointment time clearer. She could ask, is it 8 o'clock in the morning or in the evening? I believe it would be better if Stella asked it.
Okay, exactly. Those are their opinions. Those are your opinions, students. Now, later I will divide you into groups to discuss more about this video, the learning video, and about the telling times, the concern, the problems in it. Okay, students, I'm going to divide you into 6 groups. Each group will consist of 5 people. To know which group are you with, I will ask you to count from number 1 until number 5. I will ask Denisa first to count number 1, and then the next students will count number 2, and then the next students again will count number 3 until number 5, and it will repeat again. Okay, Denisa, you can start now.
1, 2,
3, 4,
5,
2, 3.
4,
5. Okay, students, it's very good. If you have already known your group, you can go to your group now. Okay, I only give you 20 seconds. I will count down from 3, 2, and 1. Time's out. Okay, it's very great. Okay, students, please pay attention to me. Please pay attention because we are going to discuss our material for today. So our material will going to talk about time. The first one is the definitions of time. I will ask one of you to read the definitions of time, and the others can take notes the materials, but I want you to only write the important parts or the points. Okay, Daniel, you raised your hand. Very good. You can read the definitions of time.
Okay, miss. The definition of time. Time of the day is a period of day. For example, in the morning. Time in the form of numbers is time expressed in the form of numbers. For example, 1 o'clock.
Okay, great. Good job, Daniel. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, the next slide is talk about times of day. Just like before, I want you to take notes, the important parts or the points, and I will also ask one of you to read this. I will ask Ferry, can you read the times of the day?
Yes, miss. I
Okay.
will read it. Day has a 2 meanings. The first one is a period of 24 hours from 1 o'clock one night to 12 o'clock the next night. The second one is the time between sunrise and sunset. If we use day with first meaning, day has a 24 hours and there are different times in a day.
Okay, good job. Perfect. Thank you, Ferry. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the times of day in English. There are late morning, morning, early afternoon, and late afternoon. I will also ask you to read this. I will ask Denisa. Please read from late morning until late afternoon.
late morning from about 10 o'clock a.m. to 12 p.m. Morning from sunrise to 12 p.m. Early morning from about 2 hours before sunrise to about 7 a.m. Early afternoon from 12 p.m. to about 3 p.m. Afternoon from 12 p.m. to about 6 p.m. Late afternoon from about 4 p.m. until about 6 p.m.
Okay, perfect, Denisa. So, in here you have to memorize it from late morning until late afternoon because it is our material and all of this is very important that you have to know about it. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, this is the times of day and the usage in sentences. From the morning means the beginning of the day, and the noon often expresses exactly at 12 p.m. And number 3, afternoon begins at 12 p.m. and it
begins at 12 p.m. and finishes at 6 p.m. For the first, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And second, do you have plans for this afternoon? And the third, the rain continued to fall all afternoon.
Okay, great. Everyone, you can write down only the first sentences, okay? You don't have to write all the sentences. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, it's the same like our previous materials, but it talks about the morning. Now, we are going to talk for the evening, from the late evening, early evening, night, and the middle of the night. You need also to write down all of this in your book because it is very important material. I will ask Daniel to read late evening until middle of the night.
Okay, Miss. Late evening from about 8 p.m. to about 10 p.m. Evening is from about 5 p.m. until about 10 p.m. Early evening is from about 5 p.m. to about 7 p.m. And night is from about 10 p.m. until sunrise. And last one, middle of the night is from about 1 a.m. until about 1 hours before sunrise.
Okay, great. Good pronunciation, Daniel. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this is the examples of the sentence for times of day. I will ask Adelia to read number 1 and also the sentences.
Here, Miss, number 1 is evening is the part of the day between the end of the afternoon and night. The sentences are first, it is 7 o'clock in the morning. Second, Edo prepares his stuff at 8:30 in the evening, and the rain will continue in the evening.
Okay, for number 2, I will ask Daniel.
Okay.
Please read number 2.
Okay, Miss. Second is at night. The first sentence is, it is 9 o'clock at night. Second, Steve prays at 9 o'clock at night. And the last sentence is, at night, all cats are gray.
Okay, perfect. Good job, all of you. Okay, let's go to the next slide. It is time in the form of numbers. Okay, let's see. Time in the form of numbers and also the uses in sentences. There are many sentences in here. You can only take notes for 5 sentences. You don't have to write down all of it, but I will ask one of you to read this. I will call Ningsa. Please read from first sentences until 5 sentences.
Okay. Number 1, I drink my milk at 6 o'clock in the morning. Number 2, you eat your food at 7 o'clock in the morning. Number 3, we study at 12 o'clock at noon. Number 4, we run at 12 o'clock at noon. And number 5, they have lunch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, great. Okay, the students that will continue the sentences is Adele.
Okay, Miss. He says goodbye to his mom at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She feeds her dog at 4 o'clock in the evening. And when he has breakfast, Abel gets his bag ready at 5 o'clock in the evening. Chelsea turns off the light at 10 o'clock at night.
differentiate in and at in times of day? Can you explain to us?
Yes, I will explain the material. But first of all, you need to pay attention to the PPT so I can explain the material. So there will be no more question. Okay, I will show the presentation. Now, as you can see, you are confused with using at and in. Is it right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Right. So, as you can see, if you want to using at, usually begin like at night and at noon. But if you want to use in, usually begin like in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Now I will explain the material further so you can be more understand what exactly I'm talking about. Now as you can see, this is at 12 o'clock. Now 12 o'clock, as we can know, it's at noon. So we are using at, not in. Because 12 o'clock is at noon. So it already passed exactly to 12 o'clock. For example, if it is already 3 p.m., you are not using at anymore. Instead, you are using in. So using at and in, it depends on the time. If the times showing like exactly at 12 o'clock, it's using at, not in. So from here, as you can see, using at usually happening like at noon. And if you want using in, like happening past the 12 o'clock. For example, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Now I will show the other side, to the night side. Alright, please move the other slide. Yeah, the other section. Okay, this is the night. Now, as you can see, night begins from 10 o'clock. Now, just like I mentioned, using at happening like in the noon and night. So 10 p.m. is the beginning of the night. So if this is at 10 p.m. o'clock, exactly at 10 p.m., you need to use at. For example, it is 10 o'clock at night. It already passed from 10 o'clock. For example, it is 5 p.m. You are not using at, but instead in. For example, it is 5 p.m. in the evening. So, do you understand with the explanation?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Is any other group that have difficulty?
No, sir. We have already understand.
Good.
Okay, students, now it's time to you to do the knowledge test with the worksheet that I've given to you. The knowledge test will be divided into two parts. The first one is the multiple choice, and the second one is the matching test. Here are the tests. The first one is the multiple choice test. You need to choose one answer from the choices that have been provided. And the second one is the matching test. You need to match the right information to the pictures that have been provided. The time starts now, and I will collect the worksheet after you do the test. Okay students, now we're getting to the written test, and here are the instructions. The instructions for written test. You need to make your own sentences using these words along with the time. The first one in the morning, the second is in the afternoon, the third is in the evening, the fourth is at noon, and the fifth is at night. After you make all the sentences, you need to draw the clock that shows the time next to each sentence. You need to submit it through your Instagram, and you need to tag me on the post. And you can make these tests as creative as possible. The most creative person in making these tests will make extra credits.
Yay!
Okay students, now we're heading to the final step of our lesson today. For anyone can draw the conclusion for our lesson today. Maybe Stella?
Yes, sir. So today we have learned about telling time in a day, like in the morning, in the afternoon, and also in the evening. And we also learned about telling time in the forms of numbers. I got a lot of knowledge about time, and I'm so thankful for today, sir.
Okay, thank you Stella for the conclusion. It's very, very good. And students, it is time to end our class for today. Please give applause for ourselves. Okay, and I'm really, really thankful that you guys come to my class today. And for our next meeting, we will learn further and deeper about time. And now to end our lesson and our class today, please Ferry, lead us to pray.
Okay, before we are going home, it will be better for us to pray. Pray begin. Pray finish.
Okay. Thank you everybody. Bye bye.